Alright, so I wanted to record a video and talk about frequency tables. This is what we went over in class today. So what our frequency table does is, it's obviously going to be a table of data. And we actually, what we're going to focus on is dividing the data up into what's called intervals or classes, and then measuring the frequency of each class. Frequency just means how often that data occurs. So we actually talked about today, it's not just arbitrary, you don't just make up numbers to be your class. There needs to be a specific number of classes that you're looking for, and then what you do is you take the max, the biggest number in your data, you subtract the min, and you divide that by the number of classes that you want. And that right there will tell you how big each class would be. So I've laid out here a bunch of numbers for us to look at. The problem that I'm solving is actually from tonight's homework. And they tell us that we want to create a frequency table that has 6 classes. So the number of classes for this one would be 6. So let me erase this, give myself some more room here. 1 second. Well, maybe I can't find an eraser, so let's use my hand. So, the first thing I want to do here is figure out what our class width is. So the width, again, is determined by taking the max, the biggest number in this data set, which would be 54. Looks like the biggest, 54. And then the smallest would be 12. Looks like, 12. So it's the max minus the min divided by the number of classes that we want. So we want to have 6 classes is what the problem told us. So 54 minus 12 would be 42. If I divide that by 6, I get 7. And as we talked about today, you're always going to round this number up. So it's the max minus the min divided by how many classes you want, and then you always round that number up, even if it's already a whole number. So we're going to round this up to 8. So we round it up. So the class width will be 8 numbers. So when we start making our classes, you always start with the smallest number in your data set, the minimum. So our minimum is 12. And then we said that our class width was going to be 8. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 8 numbers would be up to 19. Alright, so the first class goes from 12 to 19. And the next class would be from 20, and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So we add 8 to that, and we get to 27. And then 28 would be 35. And then from 36 to 43. And 44 to 51. And 52 to 59. And if you've done it correctly, your whole data set should fit into this this little table here that we're making. So then we want to measure the frequency. How often do we have numbers that fall into each of these classes? So we're going to start by looking at the ones that are between 12 and 19. So numbers that fall in that range. Well, there's 1 and 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 numbers in that first class. So the frequency would be 4. Alright, looking at the next range, 20 to 27. So we're done looking at these. 54, I can erase it. I didn't mean to actually. I was marking that because it was the maximum. So 20 to 27, we've got 1, and 2, and 3. So we've got 3 numbers in that range. Alright, so those are gone. And then 28 to 35. 35 is 1, and 28 is 1. So let's say we've got 2 there in that range. 36 to 43. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 in that range. Then 44 to 51. Got 2. And then I've got 1 in the 52 to 59 range. So my frequency table would look something like this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes altogether. The width of each class would be 8. There are 8 numbers in between 12 and 19, if you include 12 and 19. So that's frequency tables. They're kind of a useful way to organize your data. Tomorrow we're actually going to talk about some ways to take this table here and we're going to organize it graphically rather than in a table. So we'll talk about histograms, we'll talk about measuring the center of your data, and all kinds of fun stuff. So again, that was one of your problems from homework tonight. Actually, that was your only problem from homework tonight. So hopefully that was useful. We've actually got time to do one more. So let's see if I can get this erased real quick. And, we'll make up another set of data to look at, just to get a little bit more practice with it. Alright, so I'm going to make up some numbers here to look at. So we'll start with 22, 19, 17, 31, 29, 15, 0, and 33, 35, 21. So that's made up a couple numbers there for us to look at. Hopefully you can see those as well as I can. And then we need to make up a frequency table for this. So we got to pick a number of classes that we want. Let's say that we want to have, I don't know, 4 classes. So we want to have 4 classes all together. So then the width of each class would be, again, it's the maximum, the biggest number in your data set. So the biggest one would be 35, minus the smallest one in your data set, which would be 0, divided by the number of classes that you want. So 35 divided by 4. Well, 4 goes into that 8 times with 3 left over. And again, you always round that number up, no matter what. So we round that up to 9. So there are going to be 9 numbers in each class. So then we can make ourselves a little table real quick. So we got classes, and we got the frequency. So we want to have 4 classes all together. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so the smallest number is 0. If I start adding up, so I have 9 numbers, well, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So from 0 to 8 would be the first class, and then 9 to 17, and then 18 to 26, and then 27 to 35. You can see that all of our numbers are going to be within 0 to 35, so the frequency table is looking pretty good so far. So what numbers do we have between 0 and 8? Well, I've just got that 1. Numbers between 9 and 17. Now there's 1, 2, just those 2. And then 18 to 26. Sorry, I had to close the door. Class is letting out. So 18 to 26. 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 numbers in that range. And then 27 to 35. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other 4 are in that range. So the interval, for example, from 9 to 17 has a frequency of 2. So there are 2 numbers in that interval. Unfortunately, one thing about a frequency table is it doesn't tell you what the numbers are for the data you're looking at. So looking at this table, the only thing I know for sure is that 0 is in that data set, and that if I add up the frequencies here, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, that there were 10 numbers in my data set. And that's all I can say for sure, just looking at the table. I know I'd have 10 numbers total, and that one of them is 0. And that's all I know. I don't know anything about the other data sets. I do know that, for example, there are more numbers in this interval than there are in this one, but that doesn't, again, tell me what the numbers are. So that's frequency tables. So I realized just a second ago that when I was recording the last part of that video that, well, you probably won't see the last part of the video because I'm probably going to record over it. So anyway, I wanted to get you a good close-up of some things that your calculator can do with a set of numbers. So we were just looking at this data set here. And it turns out you can type those numbers into your calculator and it will actually put them in order for you from least to greatest. So if I type them in here, 17, 31, 29, 15, 0, 33, 35, 21. So I'll type in that set of data into column L1 here. You can see those numbers are all typed in. They're all out of order. And what you want to do is press the Stat button, and we want to choose Sort A. The A stands for ascending, as in from least to greatest. You could also do Sort D, and that would be descending from greatest to least. So Sort A. And what we want to sort is, you see it's waiting for us to type something in. We want to sort that list we just typed in. That was L1. So you press second and the 1 button. You can see that above the 1 little subscript for L1. What that does is it tells it that we want to sort in ascending order column L1. So you do that, you hit enter, it says done. If you go back and look at that the data again, it should now be in order from least to greatest. Which is useful if you're trying to, if you have a large set of data and you're trying to pick out the frequencies. It's nicer if you can look at it in a list from least to greatest. So there's how to do that. Tomorrow we'll talk about histograms again, which is just a graphical way to look at a frequency table. And we'll talk about a couple more calculator tricks that we can use. So hope this is helpful. If you need to see anything else, just let me know.